Hey there. You know those people who make videos that start off with, I don't know if I'm going to post this, but, blah, blah, blah. I've always thought that was annoying, but for some reason today, I understand that because I wanted to record something before I forgot about it, or before, not forgot, because I'm not going to forget, but while it's still as fresh as it could possibly be. So, thanks for being here. Hey, it's Trisha in her 60s, and this is a little different than most of the videos that I have done. This is more in my vein of, my life and how it's going to go. And there's something that happened yesterday, and it was like or last night, it was like a bolt of lightning, and I really, really, really wanted to get it down because this is something that I think is life-changing, and possibly it'll help you, as well, maybe. All right, I've mentioned before that I am a natural night owl. I'm a night owl, and when left to my own devices, I will go to bed between like 5 and 6 in the morning. Maybe not that late, maybe like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And then I'll get up anywhere between 1 and 4 in the afternoon, depending on how long Trevor lets me sleep, pretty much. Like I said, when left to my own devices, that's natural. So last night I went to bed, it was close to 6. I had spent all evening engrossed in news, and I was laying in bed, and it was like a lightning bolt hit me out of the blue. It just did. And I had to write down what I was thinking, not because I was going to forget it, because I'm not going to forget it, but I had to write it down because I really, really thought that it was so profound, and as I said, possibly life-changing, that I wanted to get it down exactly how I did. So I'm going to read this to you. And now this is extremely stream of consciousness, because what I did was I didn't want to turn on lights, and I didn't want to type and all that. I just wanted to talk. So I just opened up, a new note on the keyboard. There's the thing where you can just record and it will transcribe it, so you don't have to type. That's what I did, because I just wanted to get it out. Whether it made sense or not, it didn't matter. I have not read this back since I wrote it this morning. So this is going to be fun for both of us. All right. I know what's wrong with me. I just figured it out. I was worried that I was trying to make some kind of presence on Blue Sky that was more about, posting political stuff. And then it dawned on me that I have never been able to just consume or do something. I've always ended up either having to do whatever this was professionally, or somehow trying to, I think it's hard to explain, but what I mean is, I think the best example, and I think this is obviously where it started. You remember that I loved going to the skating rink. Well, I would go, just because I loved it. Now, just for you all, this is when I was a teenager, from, basically high school age. I ruled Plantation Skating Center. But anyway, okay. That was my extreme happy place. Okay, where did I go? All right. And I just loved it. And I found that on some nights that it was empty or whatever, and I was able to make a deal with them that they would stay open if I was around, because then I would floor guard for them. I couldn't just enjoy the experience. I had to professionalize it. I have done that with every single thing that I have done in my life. I love music and radio, so I was a DJ. Even learning curling could be because why couldn't I just watch it and enjoy it? No, I had to find a team and be on it. So that's kind of like what I'm saying here with Blue Sky, that I didn't realize I can't just read the news. I've got to repost it and comment on it. And of course, commenting is, the big thing, so you can do engagement and everything. Okay, you shouldn't just repost things. And I mean, that's for every platform. And I guess because of the couple people who've been starting to write back and starting to follow me, I felt a responsibility, I guess. And, okay, I'm losing my place here. Sorry, because it's all one big paragraph. Why can't I just read and consume and be done with it? I don't have to tell the world about it. I think that's the answer to my entire problem right now. I mean, look, I'm doing it with my art. I painted the walls. Okay, where did I go here? Okay. I painted the walls. And I didn't just paint because, I have to paint. Like people, a lot of artists, they just have to do it. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful because that's obviously your passion. But I didn't do it because I just had to. I painted and I painted on canvases because I figured, hey, maybe I can sell them. It almost seems like I still have some kind of a fear of poverty, or some kind of fear of not knowing, either not having money or whatever it is, because it's like I can't just do something. I feel like I have to participate. It's more like on a professional way is the only way that I can really explain it. And I guess in some way, that's the only thing I could think of where it started. That it started back when I was a teenager getting free rink time. And I don't know if I want that. I don't want to professionalize everything. I don't want, wow, am I still chasing money? Well, the good news is obviously it's way down on the list because I've gotten, because, a lot of it has gotten out of my system, especially after being laid off, because everything is so good. Maybe just this realization is what I needed to have it be gone forever. Whatever this feeling is, thank you for using it to protect me, because that's probably what it was for. But I don't have to do that anymore. You can go. I don't need protecting anymore. I don't need protecting anymore. I don't need protecting anymore. And that's what I wrote at 6 o'clock this morning. I know it was rambling, and I'm going to Trevor, baby, don't bark when mommy's trying to record. But I have done so much thinking about this, and what I don't have on there, but what is true, is that my entire life, I have just known in my soul, I have always in my soul knew that I was safe. And I mean that, first I meant it in the physical space safe. You know, I grew up in the 80s, and I grew up in the 70s and became an adult in the 80s. And that was a time when women were really, there was a push, mostly in the 80s, and maybe, pretty much the 80s, where women were, they gave everybody mace, carry your mace with you, or whatever, the spray, pepper spray, whatever, carry that with you, always have it on your keychain. And then another thing, it was a bug, sorry. And then another thing that was a big deal at the time was also, taking self-defense lessons and stuff like that. Because, the bad guy is going to come out of the parking lot and get you. So that was the atmosphere that I grew up in the 80s in, suburban United States. But I never felt that. I never felt that at all. And I mean, I wasn't stupid. I always locked my doors. I locked my car, the minute I get in. I take those precautions, but then it's like, okay, I've done what I'm supposed to do. I'm fine. And literally, I have never, ever, ever felt in danger. I have, when I was in the 90s, and I was at one point, I was living in a warehouse on 8th Avenue South in not the best part of town. Now you gotta remember, this is the 90s, and Nashville was not the bachelorette, capital of the world that it is now. It was, they were building, that was the thing right then, in the late 90s especially, but most of the 90s, was revitalizing downtown. And so anyway, in 1991, I believe, I don't think it was 90, it was either 90 or 91, I moved into a warehouse, a literal warehouse, 2,000 square foot of just open. It was on the 3rd floor of an old, warehouse building that's probably 100 years old. I had no air conditioning. I installed 5 ceiling fans, one on each corner and then one in the middle, like an X. I put it had 3 big windows, those big kind of windows that you see in warehouses. It had 3 windows. So the one closest to where I was going to put my bed, I put a window air conditioner. And the people put, the owner of the building put a heater in for me. And it was kind of like, near the center of everything. Just put a heater in there. Built me a little bathroom. They built me a little bathroom, just, and that was it. I only was able to live there for maybe a year or so, because what happens is this guy was renting out space for like bands to practice and things. And I was the first, and at the time, the only one living there. I take that back. There was one other guy who had been living there like for a long, long time, and he had an apartment, or he had built an apartment or something, on like the first level. I was on the top level. I was on the third floor. And I even, because I was a girl, I guess, there was one place where a car could actually park inside, like, a little garage area, and they let me park there. So, number one, this already shows how the universe was taking care of me. They were like, well, you're a little girl. We want you to be safe, so we're going to let you park inside. But so I would walk many times, when it was beautiful weather. I would walk from there all the way to the radio station that I was working at, part-time at the time, because it was on 2nd Avenue. And that's when 2nd Avenue was just starting to, people were opening bars and stuff. The Wild Horse, they were just building it. A bunch of warehouse space turned into, this big dance club. The Wild Horse Saloon. Again, this is like 1991, 92. And, summertime, I'd walk around downtown in a t-shirt and shorts. And I was like really cute. I had, my long hair, and I had a good body, and I was like 25, I had the time of my life. And I kind of veered off the subject, but the whole point was, I wasn't in danger. I was safe even in this strange thing, even me walking around, downtown by myself. Again, I'm not stupid, but I felt fine. And then also I was working a job that I had before I went and worked at the bank. I was at a company for 20 years. They were here in Nashville, it's called Metro Center, but it's a business park. And at the time, it was a new business park. So there was only, the businesses, they hadn't really, it was not built up where they had, all the fast food places and stuff like that. All that's there now. So there's much more stuff going on. But when I was working, and where I worked was near the back part of this business park. And I worked at night. Most of the time, for a long time, I worked like 7 at night till 7 in the morning. But I also worked third shift. When I first started, it was third shift. So whatever. But I was the only one in this building. Especially after 9 o'clock. There was a security guard who would be there until 9. But then I was literally the only one in this building 99% of the time. I loved it. Because I loved it because I loved what I was doing. It was like, here's your list of stuff for this day, do it. And I would do it. And if I got done early, I got done early. If I didn't, I always got done, but, and I was in the computer room, and I was singing with the radio because there's nobody else around. I love that job. I loved that job. I was so blessed. But again, my parents and other women are like, aren't you scared being in this building all alone at night? And no, because number one, the police car drives around. They don't do that during the week, but they drive around at night. But that's not even anything. I was like, look, you need a card key to get into the building. Then you need a card key to get into the floor I'm on. Then you need a card key to get into the room I'm in. Like, if somebody wants to get to me that bad, there's about nothing I can do about it then. Because, yeah. So, no, I was not scared. And like, about something with the car, whatever, somebody going to attack? No, like, no, the car was fine. All I know is, see, I wasn't attracting it. I was safe. I was safe. I was safe. I just use those. I use those to really explain how I have always felt safe. I've never. Once I left my home, or the home I grew up in. Once I left that and started living on my own, I have never been homeless. I have always had a nice place to live. I mean, apartment or whatever. I'm not saying it was palatial, but it was nice and it was safe. I always had that. And, I almost always had a job, especially once again, getting more into my spirituality and stuff. I always had a job or always had money to take care of myself by savings, because I had done that, by the grace of the universe. I've always been okay. But in the meantime, every time I had an interest in something, like I said, I think it must have started with the skating rink. And I can't believe that's so funny, but it's true. I couldn't just learn something and learn it. I had to learn something and then figure out how to monetize it. And I think that is the little missing piece that has prevented like multitudes of money and things, is that I was always like, well, let me do this so I can learn this, just, maybe it'll make me some extra money. And, just in case. I think a lot of it was just in case. And I mean, so many. Do you know how many business cards I have? Especially when business cards, got really cheap, where you could just order them online and they got really cheap. I have business cards for several different businesses, but none of them got off the ground. I mean, I was working full time, and between, so much of it would have been with the company I was at before, because I was there for 20 years. And so that's from, my 20s to my 40s. And so I worked all those times. I had a salary. Every year I was getting an increase. My boss loved me, trusted me, which is worth more than pretty much anything I have learned with work. I was married twice with when I worked at that company. And I'll call it the rock company, because that's what I used to call it, the rock company. When I worked at the rock company, I was married twice, and both of those marriages were fraught with money issues. I'm trying to see how to word this right. Me as a person, I was doing very well. I get in these two marriages that both affected my finances very negatively. My first marriage, my second marriage, sorry. I know. On my second marriage, there were a lot of money issues because in that marriage, which is the marriage that brought me to Tennessee, actually, is there were, my husband was paying child support for 3 children, and what ended up being spousal support that it did not get negotiated as it should have, and it ended up being like 75% of his take-home pay. And we were going to live on my money, which was fine, because at the time when we were together, I was a programmer. When we got married, I was a programmer. This is in the early 80s. Unfortunately, that company went out of business, so I lost my salary. And so we were living on it was just a few $100s a month. That was, and I tried to get another job, or another similar job. I wasn't, because at the time it was the mid 80s. Atlanta, which is where I was filled with newly minted, people with bachelor's degrees for computer science and stuff. And I had an associate's degree, but it wasn't enough, because even for a computer operator job, just because there were so many people that they had to weed you out somehow. Hi, baby boy. They had to weed you out somehow. So I had a very hard time trying to find something. He was working part-time on the weekends, driving a limousine, and was a COBOL programmer during the day, and on the weekends he would drive a limousine. I ended up doing a couple things. At one point, that's when I was an out-call stripper, because I could at least get paid something. And, again, that sounds weird. It's like, you were a stripper? Yes, but it was an out-call stripper, like the singing telegram kind of a thing. So somebody was with me, they did the comedy bit, they turned on the music, I came on and did my, one song is like 3 minutes long, and then I would leave. And these were all like in, for birthday parties of people at work, work things. So obviously it wasn't raunchy, it was more, it was more flirty than raunchy, because these were work settings. Like I said, it was a singing telegrams, and I don't even know if they do that anymore. Do they do that anymore? I'll have to look that up. But see, okay, wait, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did that. You know what I did? In my head, just now, I said, hey, if they're not doing singing telegrams anymore, maybe I should bring it back. And I could, see? So that gets back to my having to professionalize everything. So anyway, because of how bad everything was at the time, and it was, we were living on so we made the choice to live on my credit cards, because at the time, and I know you've probably heard this, you could be Mrs. So-and-so on credit cards and, could still use them. But we were doing this on mine. And basically it was paying rent and paying car payments. That's it. That didn't last very long. Long story short, I had to file bankruptcy as a little girl of 20. Gee whiz, okay. 23. Actually, I was 22. I hadn't even turned 23. I was 22. And that affected me more. That affected me so much in my core. Number one, it was hard for me to get some computer jobs soon, you know, because I had that. Because I remember specifically, I had a job interview for a computer operator for one of the credit bureaus, whichever one, Experian, or whichever one was in Atlanta, or at least the one I went to. And they said that they would love to hire me, you know, because they would love to hire me, but they couldn't because I have this new bankruptcy and, you know, people could change stuff in the computer. And that really infuriated me. Although, I will tell you, it's certainly nice to know why somebody's not going to hire you instead of how it is now, with just being ghosted all the time and you have no idea what happened, you know, especially if you've gone in the interview process and they like you and then all of a sudden you're ghosted and you have no idea why. So, thankfully the person told me, but that infuriated me because it's like, look, I was not some stupid little girl who was buying clothes and buying jewelry and buying shoes and buying purses. No, I wasn't. I was supporting my husband while he supported his kids. But it fractured something because I just felt like, why am I paying for something that I didn't do? And that came to me because a few years earlier in my life, you know, I had to make some decisions that were very painful for everyone involved. Yet I was basically paying for my actions. I was taking, well, I don't even say paying. I was taking responsibility for my actions. I thought that's what adults did. So if it's something I did, and then there's a consequence, there's no one to blame. It's me. In this case, even though, yes, you can say, well, you married him, you knew what it was like, but, you know, obviously I wasn't in the same situation I was just a few months before when I married him. So that really bothered me because it's like I am being looked at by society. And when I mean that, I mean, you know, businesses trying to get credit, trying to, you know, those kind of things. I would be being lumped in with all those stupid little girls or the people who just didn't know how to handle credit. I lost my car, and my husband didn't even have a car. He had a motorcycle. I had gotten a scooter, a Honda scooter, because I can't really drive a motorcycle. I'm a little too small. Well, I mean, maybe I could, but at the time, I know I couldn't drive, you know, my husband's motorcycle and change gears and all that stuff. I know it's different now, but again, we're talking mid-'80s. I had gotten a scooter, a Honda scooter. I loved it. But I had gotten, unfortunately, in an accident on 285, coming home from a job interview, I believe. It was either going to a job interview or coming home from a job interview. I think it was coming home from a job interview. Yeah. It was coming home from a job interview, I think. And I had an accident on 285, just because I didn't hit, no one hit me, but, you know, I was on a scooter, which doesn't weigh a lot. I didn't weigh a lot. And the rush of a truck next to me, you know, shook me with, I know you can't, you know, shook me like that, where I couldn't hold on to the handlebars anymore. And I just fell off it and rolled down 285 for a few feet. And the bike just kept going for a little while. Thank God and the universe that the car behind me saw what was happening and slowed down and stopped in front of me, risking him getting hit. Maybe he did. I don't even know. I don't think he did. But risking him getting hit, him or her, I don't even know, to protect me so I wouldn't get run over. And you know what was the only thing that happened? I got a couple little because I was wearing my leather everything, because I did that. I got a couple scrapes because I think one of my gloves fell off when I was rolling, and I broke a nail. That was it. I walked away from it. So after that, my parents, seeing that, you know, we were trying to do the best we could, they gave me a little car. You know, they found a nice, serviceable, you know, sedan, because they didn't want me dying just because I didn't have the money for a car. Obviously, that was a blessing. That was such a blessing. And I know I'm rambling all over the place, but it's all getting somewhere, I promise you. From then, I always, and I think that is part of why that is a lot of the reason why we didn't stay married. It's all my fault, because I'm the one who left. But I think it was a resentment that was building, that even though it was not his fault technically at all, I was just resenting that I lost my car. I'm resenting that I had to do bankruptcy because I was trying to do the right thing and take care of, you know, us. I resented that. And I know that poisoned my feelings. I'm sure that, you know. So I guess that's where the making sure that I have that earning things is very important to me. And at the time, it was very important, because I was like, you know, if I do this, if I buy this and it's my life, nobody's going to take this from me. I earned it. It's mine. Thus, I can enjoy it. I think that's really the basis where it came from. And then it was reiterated with my last marriage, because my last marriage, and yes, that's probably going to be last for a reason. My last marriage, I was marrying somebody much younger than me. The reason, you know, I was like, I don't want people with kids again. I don't want to get into this whole child support and having the kids, you know, on the weekends. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And even though the kids are great kids, they were great kids. And I'm still, friendly with the oldest to this day. 40 years later? Seeing her when she was a kid, growing, and now, she's almost a 50-year-old woman. This is just, she's happy as a clam. She's married, got 3 kids. And like I said, I think she's happy as a clam. And I couldn't be happier for her. But like I said, I think I was just, that resentment just ended up poisoning the relationship. But then I married my last husband. He was 12 years younger than me. He had just started working, when we got married, he was having a good job in tech support. But he was right out of college age. And unfortunately, he was never taught anything about money. And even then this would have been 98. Well, when we met was 98. So the mid 90s, they're giving credit cards to every student, and he went to college 1 year and flunked out because he didn't apply himself. And so he just had a regular job when I met him. But he had debt in an apartment. Oh, gee whiz, it's so funny. He had an apartment with a sofa, a TV, and a bed in the bedroom. It's just, and a coffee table. But yeah, I was like, oh, gee whiz, okay. Because when I met him, I had my own house. I had my first house. Again, there were some wonderful things that aligned with the universe that helped me be able to buy a house. That was my main thing with the bankruptcy. Once I got, what was to rebuild my credit, and then, to buy a house as soon as humanly possible. And I was able to do that. I bought my house in 96. Okay, less than 10 years from the bankruptcy. 6 years of that, though, was living in one apartment the whole time. And then before that was me bouncing around a little after I got divorced from number 2. But then I had an apartment, a real apartment. But what I call real people apartments, just normal people apartments. 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Always wanted 2 bedrooms and 2 baths because if anything ever happened, again, oh gee whiz, can you believe this? I'm even thinking about it now. I always wanted 2 bedrooms, 2 baths in case I needed a roommate. I did it again. I did it again. Wow. I mean, this is real time. I'm figuring this out, but I did it again. Because that was the whole reason of always wanting to have 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, is in case I ever needed a roommate, I'd have, the 2 bedrooms and they'd have their own bathroom. I can't believe, see, it was I mean, I could afford the rent. I don't buy a lot of things. I'm not a consumer like that. There are lots of things that I do consume, but I don't buy things like that. So when I met him, I was not in debt. I was debt-free. I was in my cute little house. You know, so I thought, well, he's young. It's, you know the song from Bye Bye Birdie, you know, how lovely to be a woman. The line is like, pick out a boy and train him, and then when you are through, you'll make him the man you want him to be. It's lovely to be a woman like me. That's kind of what I thought. I thought, well, he doesn't have an ex-wife. He doesn't have kids. He's a clean slate. Obviously, I mean, we were together for we were together 11 years. We were married for 9 years. Almost 9 years, you know, technically. But at the end, at that divorce, I was 5 digits in debt, and ashamed of that, because everything there was pretty much, I would buy it because I had the great credit rating at the time, and you know, by then I had a great credit rating, and he didn't, and I was trying to help him. Again, I was trying to help a husband. And so I paid for everything because he was going to pay for things, and we had some nice things. We had a lot of it was season tickets and vacations to things. We had 10 years of the Predators, the hockey team, tickets. And at 1 year, I had moved him down to like really expensive tickets. But he was supposed to be paying his part of these. And he always would find a way to get out of it. And I had told myself early on that I'm never going to, you know, leave a relationship or get a divorce or whatever because of money again. Because that's what I was blaming my divorce on, was, as I told you, I was resenting the money thing. I really was. And I didn't realize how much I was. But I left that marriage thinking there were greener pastures. Greener pastures didn't work, but I had the best years of my life in those early 90s when I was living in the warehouse, living downtown. Oh, it was just great. It was great. So, yet again, I was in a relationship where I was paying for something that wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that I decided that to make the, you know, to pay for the thing originally, to, you know, do the trip to London, you know, or do the cruise. Those were really the only two things we did in all those years. That was, you know, big. We had a cruise in the second year of our marriage, and then about 5 years in, we went to London. There was nothing else big. Well, the honeymoon. Had a three-piece honeymoon. Flew to New York to see two things. To see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, front row center seats. And then later that night, we came home, went to the hotel, changed clothes, and went to see Rocky Horror, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, at the place where it originally was being played back, you know, in 77 or whenever, when they started doing midnight showings of it, 75, 76. I forget the name of the place, because he loved Rocky Horror. He did a lot. He was in a cast here in Nashville, so he did Rocky Horror. And so I was very familiar with Rocky Horror. And then we took a short cruise, a 5-day, 5-day cruise. The next day we left from New York up to, you know, the eastern side of the U.S. and Canada. It was both of our first cruises, and that's when I fell in love with cruising. And then when we got back to New York, we spent 3 nights at in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, because you have to go to the Poconos on your anniversary. Excuse me, yeah, on your honeymoon. I mean, I know that's an old thing. So, Trevor, do you want to sit with Mommy? You want to sit with Mommy? So, anyway, those are in 8 years. But anyway, he was supposed to pay his half of things. He didn't. And so I spent almost that entire marriage working in my real job and then trying to come up with something that's supposed to make more money. Even though I was paying, the reason being was not for me. It was, the big thing I really tried was, you know, the flipping houses thing. This was in the mid-2000s. And I did everything you're supposed to do. And nothing happened. I mean, I was mailing out. I had postcards with pictures on of the dogs on it that was saying like, "My mommy buys houses." You know, I mean, I did everything I was supposed to do, but I never, you know, made any money. I was also, and I think technically I still am, though, gee whiz, I was also into prepaid legal. I know it's got another name now, because I actually do believe in it. I think it's a great idea. But I said, well, I'm going to go and sell it. And, you know, because it's a great idea. And I've never been a salesperson. I've never been a good salesperson. I remember I tried selling Hyundais for like a week and a half. Well, it wasn't that long, probably about a month, when we first moved up to Nashville. And again, that's when I was really cute and pretty, and I found that, and I would wear these little suits, you know, suits and heels, and, you know, was trying to look professional at 22 years old, 23 years old. And the guys, you know, the guys would love me, but they would never buy the car. And that's what I found happened with pretty much everything. Everyone loved, you know, especially the men. Everyone loved me, but nobody bought. You know, I did the things where you would have the conferences in the hotel, you know, conference room, the meetings, and I did all that. Or I tried all that. And it's like, look, you all said this is what exactly to do. A, B, C, D, E. I'm doing A, B, C, D, E. Same thing with the houses. It's like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I think I bought and sold one house and maybe made $300, you know, over the entire however year or so that I was trying to do that. After spending, you know, who knows how much money, because, you know, I had to make my print. I had to go down to the courthouse. I had to be able to look at the things in the courthouse, you know, the deeds and stuff. And I was doing that, I was doing that because I felt responsible, not because I wanted to, but I felt responsible. And once again, the person I was supposed to lean on to share life and its trials and tribulations let me down. But I had said to myself, I'm not going to get divorced. I'm not going to get divorced. I'm not going to get divorced because for money. I'm not. Well, the universe was smarter than I was, which is true. Usually my body is smarter than I am, and the universe is definitely smarter than I am. So, because I said I would never ever get a divorce because of money, and because of, because I was trying to say, money's not important, we love each other, The universe had other plans and had him have several affairs. The last one the most consequential one was with somebody who has always been named the fat blonde slut named Kimmy. And I know that sounds terrible, but that's her name. She was somebody that we met playing poker and was more of the, she wasn't a waif, but it was more of the, oh, I'm helpless, can you please help me? My car doesn't work, or, and my husband just fell right for it. And I'm not going to get into all the details, but it was happening. And then I found out that was not the only person. And so I was like, you know what? The universe knew I wouldn't divorce him for money. But society is not going to frown on me if I divorce him for sleeping with a fat blonde slut named Kimmy while still married to me. And so that's what happened. So I have such a visceral feeling towards believing that something's supposed to work and it doesn't. But it's something outside of my control, if that makes sense. It's a husband, or it's a business. And it's like I was leaning on these things that were outside of my control to have, another just in case thing. And now that I am retired, and it's been another 15 years since the divorce and everything, I just keep seeing how this gets... Obviously, the resentment over these years has gotten much less as my understanding of spirituality and the law of attraction and all of that, I understand so much more. And that's why this was such a big deal when it hit me at 6 o'clock in the morning. Because I was, what I did the night before? I spent probably 6 hours researching and writing a Substack article. And I had my sources and everything to back up things I was saying and all of this. I spent 6 hours writing this thing. Why? Because I'm going to make some viral presence on Substack? Or it was going to, And then last night, like I said, last couple of days, I've been putting stuff on. I've been more active on Blue Sky, posting things, reposting things, and making sure that my sources were right and all this. And then I'm like, why on earth am I doing this? Why can't I just read the postings most of them are newsy. Why can't I just read the news? Why can't I just consume it? Why am I having to feel like I've got to repost things and all that? Now, part of it is where we are at this point in our government and stuff when I'm recording this. So that does have something to do with it, but then I was like, well, but everybody here on Blue Sky pretty much feels the same way I do, so I'm just preaching to the choir. Well, I'm not doing anything that's really being helpful here. Why on earth am I doing this? And that was really something. So then I got even to the point of like, my art. And like I said in the writing, I used to paint, and I haven't had to do it because I've lived in this house for over 20 years, but I painted on the walls, a good a faux finishing kind of a thing that I like to do. And then I did some other things on other different walls that were a little different, but they're all, my weird little style. But I wasn't like a painter, an artist is like, oh, I've got to do it because I've been doing this since I was 2 and it's got to come out of me. I wasn't feeling that way. I enjoy it. But see, again, I was like, well, gee whiz, why don't I paint on canvas? And going to other, seeing other artwork out there, there's no reason I can't sell mine. But it was the same thing. It's like, and I remember a million years ago, my mother, when I told her I was going to paint, she thought, oh, well, that's sweet. You're going to take up painting. That sounds nice. And she wasn't, she was being sincere. She's like, that sounds really nice. I hope you enjoy that. And then, after I painted some or whatever, I was like, well, now I got to figure out how to sell them. And even she said, I didn't think you were doing it. I didn't think you were doing the painting because you wanted to sell them. I just thought you wanted to do them because you were enjoying it. Gee whiz, that's so many years ago. I don't remember how I responded. I don't remember how I responded, but I'm sure it was probably something that's like, well, they're here. Why not? Doesn't hurt to try. So it's like, I've been doing these things my entire adult life for just in case, that I wasn't, even though, the universe was showing me throughout my whole life that I was safe and protected. Once I learned about the law of attraction, maybe 35 years or so, I really learned that, well, actually, I guess that's the point. Even though I knew this stuff, most of it sank in, but it didn't sink in enough. It was like, I'm still having to do this, even though I ended up being fine in the divorce. So I was fine. And like I said, I keep coming up with these things. It's like, oh, this is neat. Maybe I can do this and make money out of it, just in case. And now, fast forward to where I am now, I still have my beautiful house. I have my beautiful car. I'm back at no debt again. When I was sitting there killing myself, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because it's just, I guess, I've had this feeling that that for some reason I have to earn what I have. because I guess it's, well, if I earned it, I paid for it. No one can take it away from me. I remember once I was talking to somebody when I was talking about the money stuff and how I had gotten to, how things had happened. And I remember saying, I bought this house, I bought this car, I bought this, so, I know it was kind of a rant. I wouldn't call it now, it's like, I bought everything in this house and it's all mine and no one's going to take it from me ever again. And while that is all true, that was the thing behind it was, no one's ever going to take this because, I earned it with my, blood, sweat, and tears, my job. I earned this. And I think that's where my problem is. It's like, you mean I can't even go online? Yeah, I can't just read and enjoy the stuff. I've got to figure out, hey, let's see if I can, get enough followers where, or have them, I was using Blue Sky to have people come to my YouTube so they would see YouTube. And then I was like, I'm still doing it. I am still doing it when I don't need to. Like I said, I've always been safe. I will, and that is in my bones. I will always be safe. I will always be provided for. I know that. I know that. I have a friend of mine that I've been friends with her for about, oh gee whiz, 30-something years, 35 years. She is, a psychic and a witch here in Nashville. Been around forever, just all the new agey spiritual stuff. Her husband could see auras. And I'm friendly with her husband as well. And I was actually, this was back when I was still married, so this would have been, in the early 2000s. And he and I went to a friend's house for a get-together, a little party. And my friend and her husband were there too, because ironically, my husband knew her husband from something totally different. And so her husband was there, and I had met him by being with her, seeing her over the years. Anyway, he was sitting next to me, or we were talking or something, and he was like, I don't know if he said, do you want me to tell you what your aura said, how your aura is? Or we were in the middle of a conversation and he just had to stop and tell me because he just, felt it. And he said, you have this protective layer around you. You've got this protective layer around you that's so strong, nothing is going to get through it. It's almost to the point of, that it's hard for you to let people in. And he said, but you're protected. You've got this field around you that that you've had your whole life, and you're always going to have it. And even though I guess that put words into the feeling that I always had, that I've got this aura that has always been protecting me. So how come when I tried to do things that, either to make money, just to make money, and pretended that that's what I liked or thought that I liked. That's probably why they never worked, because I was coming at those things with a lack of trust, or again, not a feeling of poverty. I wasn't poor, but I think you know what I mean. I was coming from lack. I'm doing this because I lack. I'm gonna try selling prepaid legal, not because I loved it, and I mean, yes, I agreed with it, but I mean, I'm not this born salesperson who's like, oh, I'm gonna go tell the world about this. I mean, I tried, but again, it didn't work. The house thing didn't work. The only thing that I ever did extra that I would do today without getting paid would be on radio again. Because half the time I wasn't even getting paid. And they weren't paying me or anything. Then after a while they started paying me like minimum wage. As I've said my entire life, that was the best time of my entire life. I loved every minute of it. Every minute of it. I lived, ate, drank, slept that radio station. I loved every minute of it. And then later I went to another station and was there. I still loved doing it. I loved doing it. I really did. And yeah, I would do that today. But, radio was so different. Then it was still physical. You actually put CDs in the CD players and stuff. By the time when I left radio, or my last job in radio, we were just getting to having things be MP3s, and having things be digital. I was still there in the analog days. That would have been around 2000-ish. And that's when it, started really changing. So that's the only other, everything else either was something that I did purely because I thought it would make me money, or something that I enjoyed and I was like, let's see how I can monetize it. So where does that leave me now? That left me realizing, number one, apparently how competitive I am. Because I guess that's part of my competitiveness, is that I am I am going to do this the best I can, and I'm proud of myself. I don't want you to think I'm not proud of myself for everything I've done, because obviously I was given, these wonderful talents and my mind and everything. I was given that all for a reason, and I'm very, very, very thankful, for how my life has been. Very thankful. And it's like, I'm so close to, I pretty much do have everything I want. And I think I have to get out of the habit of thinking that I have to earn it. That's where my problem is, because we all know with law of attraction and everything, we don't have to earn anything. It's given to us. It's promised to us. You just got to let it in. And I'm really and truly wanting to just finally do that. And I think why this happened when it happened was I had earlier this week, I think Monday, I don't know, yeah, Monday, I think. I had probably the best conversation I have ever had with my mother. It was a wonderful conversation that went all over the place. It was like 2 hours long. I was on the phone. And without getting into too much things, because this is a very long video. I said how, because we were talking about me retiring and how I'm going to go forward and all these things. I told her that I was feeling guilty that I could just stop work. And I'm okay. I think it's, and I said, I feel so bad because I know, friends and family members who are working really, really hard. And in this environment, it's not easy. And people my age, trying to get another job. So, but I said, but at the same time, I'm feeling guilty because I'm at where I'm at. And my mother said, she said, you have no reason to feel guilty. You did everything right. It was funny. She didn't use these words exactly, but it was basically you did everything right. And now it's time for you to enjoy it. And then she said, I am very proud of you. And my parents have told me that they've been proud of me, for a long time. Usually it's Daddy who says it. And then Mom, echoes it or whatever. But just in the context of this conversation we were having and everything, when she said, I am proud of you and how what you've done in your life. From where that came from back when things were not great with my mother, 40-something years ago, when I was, just a young adult, and to have her say that now, that she was proud of what I have done with my life. I could have just, died and gone to heaven that day, in that minute, and I would have been fine. I think I've been waiting my entire life to really internalize that. I think I've been waiting my entire life. And to know where that comes from, I think that was the catalyst. And it's okay. I don't have to keep trying to do things just in case, or in my rambling where I wrote, I don't need the protection. I don't need to be protected. So after I wrote this down and I went to bed again, and I was just, talking to the universe, and I just said, I understand now. I kept trying to do these things to protect myself. It was like, I need to earn it. Anything that's good, I have to earn it. Anything that's extra, I have to earn it. And I don't, or I was doing these things to feel protected. That here's something I can do just in case. The just in case. I don't need any more. I think I finally got it. I have always said that I understood that we were put here on earth to enjoy everything here that the world and the earth has to give us. And I knew I was safe. I knew I wouldn't ever be, homeless, living under a bridge or something. But I think somewhere I still felt that I had to earn it. And maybe I did earn it by getting to the point that I'm at. But for my next going forward, I don't have to earn it. I don't have to earn blessings. I don't have to earn money. I don't have to earn the things of value that I would like. I don't have to earn it. I have been so happy today and the last few days since I had that conversation with my mother especially. Like I said, I think there has been a shift. There's a shift. I'm not going to do these. I don't need to know every single thing about. I was like, well, I need to be informed because of how things are going right now with the government. That is true. But I don't have to listen to 800 people and their podcast and they're all this. I can pick a couple people I like, keep me informed, but I don't have to keep reposting things. I don't have to earn my leisure time. I guess because I've been working so much, it's been hard to be just leisurely. Wow. So where does that leave this? YouTube? I like YouTube. It's fun. And I'm at a point right now, I'm sitting there still, trying or whatever. I don't know. But it's fun. I'm enjoying it. But here we go again. I did this because let's see if I can get monetized. Let's see if I can get monetized because that's what I need. No. I like performing. I like that. And that's why I'm doing it. Because like I said, I'm not even monetized yet. I thought I would be sooner than now. And as I see, my stats and everything, it's still going to take some doing. So again, it's the same thing. Why, am I doing YouTube because I just really enjoy it? Or am I doing it just in case I need the money? Which is funny considering, once again, I'm not even making any money at all. I have probably published close to 1,000 videos over the different playlists that I have. Maybe not that many, like 700 or something. But it's like, really? Am I doing it just, so I'll probably be rethinking the channel, or even doing one at all, you know? Or just do something because I know what I like. I know I like singing. I know I like performing. Even when I was young and I would skate in the skating rink that I told you about, that's probably what caused my this entire thing. Lots of times the skating rink would be empty and they would keep it open. They say, well, we're going to close a couple hours early because there's nobody here. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But they would still play the music and everything. And I would pretend that I was in the Olympics and that I was, an ice skater, and I was skating. I wasn't doing anything terribly fancy, but I could do good jumps, and I could do backwards really well, and I could, jump backwards into forwards, and, wasn't the best, but I loved it. But I also loved the performing of it. And so, if I were to do anything, I would want to do performing stuff. And like I said, I don't know. All I know is I finally have figured it out. What might be stopping things like no one seeing? Yeah, I've been selling my art. Oops, I almost knocked over my drink. I have been selling my art on my website for over 5 years. 6 years. 6 years? Anyway, I've been selling my art for like 6 years, and I don't sell anything on the website. And I've done these different shows, and I never sell anything there either. So now that I'm not trying so hard is when my painting got discovered by the Frist Art Museum people, and they contacted me to ask if they could, show my painting. And then that put me in touch with the girl who runs the gift shop. And she's like, yeah, I think what you're doing is great. I'd like to order some, to sell in the gift shop. The magnets and tote bags and stuff like that. And I guess it is because I just kind of like, I give up. It's, fine. So when I stopped, doing the email, sending out the emails, and you know what? I've been posting on Instagram every single day for years, and it hasn't brought me one sale. Why am I doing it? I'm going to end this because I think I know this is extremely long. I hope you got something out of this, that the universe wants to provide for you. Just don't push it away. Don't push it away. So many people, and I know people in my life who actively push away financial, stability. They actively push it away. And I wish, if they would listen to me, that, what you're doing, your actions, you're pushing stuff away by always complaining about not having money. Well, that is the attitude that pushes away money and security or finances, however you want to say it. Whatever it is that you are, and it could even be, love and relationships or whatever. And it's like, I'm pushing it away because I said, I don't have, or, again, I'm using this as an example, I why can't I find a boyfriend? Why can't I find a girlfriend? Why can't I? And so the universe just hears, I can't find a boyfriend. I can't find a girlfriend. Nothing is selling. Nothing is selling. That's what the universe hears. And while I was probably about 90% there over these last few years of how I have known to, grown to accept it, I'm much closer now. I don't need to earn it, and you don't either. You don't need to earn the blessings that this earth and the universe and God want to give you. You don't need to earn it. It's okay. It's okay to want it or desire something. And when you do, you just think about how it feels to have it. How great it feels to have it. Because that's what the universe hears. And so, just if you get nothing else out of this, and I guess this is the whole point anyway, you don't have to earn it. You don't have to earn it. The universe wants to give these things to you. God wants to give you these blessings. So accept them. Don't push them away. Don't push them away. Don't push them away. And if you've made it to the end of this, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for witnessing how my life is changing. Wow. 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 All right. I'll let you go. Wow. It's just hard to explain how I feel. Take care.